At 3 p.m. today. Jody? Might have to yell.
All right. Please note, council meetings are streamed live and recorded on YouTube. Attendees acknowledge that in accordance with Section 20, subsection 2 of the Access to Information Act and Section 4, subsection C of the Protection of Privacy Act, names, addresses, and other details provided when speaking at a council meeting will be publicly shared. Should you have any questions related to the collection or disclosure of personal information, please contact the Legislative and Advisory Services Division for the Town of High River by sending an email to atipp@highriver.ca.
Thanks, Jody. Adoption of today's agenda. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Kinghorn that Council adopt the agenda for the regular Council meeting July 14th as presented.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. You have my motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Approval of the last meeting minutes. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Walsh that Council adopts the June 23rd, 2025 regular Council meeting minutes as presented.
You have my motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Public hearing with the land use bylaw, so I will get this started, and then we'll have Nalendu present his report. So. Here, I'll get you started here, Nalendu.
Sorry.
So today we have a public hearing regarding amending the land use bylaw. The following rules of conduct shall be followed during this public hearing. No person shall address council without the permission. No person shall speak more than once or for more than 5 minutes, exclusive of the time required to answer the questions from council. No member of council may debate the bylaw or item that is the subject of the public hearing. Respect for staff, developers, council, and the public shall always be maintained, and any person who wishes to speak and address council shall state and spell their name and provide their municipal address for the record. This time I declare the public hearing in session. Jody?
One moment. I'm trying to find my notes. I've got too many things open.
You want that one?
Hey, that's perfect. Today we are holding a public hearing regarding amending the Town of High River's Land Use Bylaw 4651/2025, which had its first reading at the regular meeting of Council on June 23rd, 2025. Public hearings are held to listen to the public's support or concerns about issues before Council votes, listen to public opinion on issues with large impacts on the community or property owners, and meet requirements of the Municipal Government Act. Thanks, Craig.
So at this time, I will let Nalendu give your presentation, please.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of council. The purpose of today's public hearing is to present the amendment to the land use bylaw. This amendment proposes to redesignate a 3.15 acre property located in the northwest corner of the Ellis area concept plan from urban reserve district to traditional neighborhood district. The subject land is within the boundary of Ellis ACP, a document that outlines general development intentions for the area. The application has been submitted by Boxford, who is proposing a new attainable market-oriented multifamily residential development. According to the applicant's cover letter, their vision consists of a primarily 3-story ground-oriented residential built form that will support the neighboring small-scale commercial uses. This aligns with the Ellis ACP's intent for residential development, and the administration agrees that traditional neighborhood district is an appropriate designation to support this vision. Administration has met with the applicant to review both the town plan and the land use bylaw. While the applicant has considered the requirements of the traditional neighborhood district, no formal drawings or detailed design has been submitted at this time. The administration is not in a position right now to provide comments on full compliance with the land use bylaw. However, further discussions and reviews will take place prior to the submission of any major development permit pertaining to this area. Other planning considerations such as municipal reserve dedication and off-site levy payments have not yet been triggered. This will be addressed at the time of subdivision, development permit, or development agreement, whichever occurs first. The administration has been in the contact with the landowner and there are no current concerns related to these obligations. Municipal reserve and environmental reserve dedication will be discussed as a part of future application. The proposed amendment was circulated to all the relevant agencies and no objections were received. The administration will continue to work closely with the applicant through the next phases of development to ensure design quality, compliance, and alignment with the community's need. Today's hearing is intended to gather public feedback before the council considers further reading of the bylaw. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Nilendu. Any questions from council for Nilendu before we go? As those wishing to speak in support of the bylaw, I do have a list in front of me, and once we go through that list, if there's anybody else in the audience that wants to submit in support, they can. First one, of course, we have Mr. Billy Fowler.
Shall I spell that for you?
Oh, I got it.
Mayor and Council, thank you very much. The sole reason we're here today is to work on rezoning this land, which has been held in an urban reserve capacity for the better part of 20 years since the town annexed the land. We now have a developer who is interested in building. He's interested in building Northwest High River, which I find exciting because this land flooded, marginally flooded in 2013. So the land was held in limbo under urban reserve. We now have an offer on the site, 3.13 acres. We've dealt with all the off-site issues. We've dealt with the environmental reserves. We've dealt with the municipal reserves. We have tried to step over every piece that we need to do this right. So this is a 3.13 acre. It'll be a high density site, I think. I don't know. I haven't spoken to the developers about that. But regardless, it's changing the use merely from urban reserve to a use whereby somebody can actually build on it. If you have any questions of me, I speak on behalf of the owners as well, who are also here.
Any questions for Bill? Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I do have a question. So are they proposing to build on the entire site or just a portion of it? Or you don't know?
Well, on the 3.13 acres, they will build on the entire portion of it, but depends on what you approve.
Okay.
You know, it's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with them. It's what you approve. So the exact problem you had here earlier where people are misunderstanding the process, that's what this is. So this is merely redesignating the land, rezoning it. What happens next is between the town and the developer, making sure that he meets all the criteria that you've established in order to have a good progressive town.
Absolutely.
So I don't know how much of that they'll build on,
Okay.
but I'm going to assume if it was me, I'd build on all of it.
Thank you.
Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you for coming today, Bill. I'm glad to see some action happening on the land. This is only pertaining to the small piece in the north part and still planning later development.
I'm sorry, I can't pick it up, Brenda. The sound is atrocious.
This is just pertaining to the small piece
Yes.
north of Seasons.
Yes.
Yes, I think it'll be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's all it is.
Yep.
And the other thing that's happening with this concurrently is the subdivision out. So the two pieces that you see in red on the screen are on one title. And they're on one title because they're a remnant of a quarter section. So this is actually the last part of the quarter section. So once the zoning's approved, then we'll move to the next stage, which is the subdivision of it. And we've been working with Sarah Peck from the town about that to make sure that we have all the ducks in a row so that as soon as you approve the zoning, we're going to registration.
Thank you. I appreciate you clarifying the processes as well.
No worries.
But just to make it clear, the decision that council will be making at the next meeting is the land use change
Right.
for both of these sections highlighted in red, right? Yes.
No,
Why do we have two sections highlighted on here?
I don't know why you have, well, because they're one title, Craig. I
Okay,
think
so
that-
they're one title,
They're
which
one
means
title. They're one
when we,
title. Well,
when
we're
we
all-
do this land use change,
We're only
it will
doing the
change
rezoning
both
on
of
3
those.
acres.
Yeah, so both the lands is in one title, and right now the rezoning is for the, sorry. Yeah. So, both the lands are in one title, and right now, only the northwest part, that is the small section in the northwest, is going to be rezoned into traditional neighborhood district from urban reserve.
Okay, so
So,
the
yeah,
east one will remain as urban reserve,
Correct.
yeah.
right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you for
I
clarifying that.
suspect at some point in time,
It'll,
these folks are going to come back with a commercial proposal for that.
right, and we'll do this all again.
And we'll do that then.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Councillor Nychuk for Bill?
Thank you. Not a question for Bill, but just over to the Ellis family. I'm going to miss Doug mowing the lawn over there, as I've watched him do for many years. So it's nice to see the property being developed and you guys seeing that through. So happy to have you guys here today.
I hear you, Michael, and you know, I try to get him out to mow more often, but he comes from a farm background. And to him, you don't mow till it's yay high.
He's not using a tractor, though. Your mower's like 18 inches wide, Doug. It's like 2 weeks watching you out there. I don't know how you have any teeth left in your...
I appreciate
rattling that.
deflecting this backwards.
Okay,
really
I think we're off topic now. We're into
Character assassination.
yeah, something like that. Not uncommon when the group of us get together with each other. So, thanks, Bill.
Okay.
Next person we have is Renee Clements.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Councillors. Renee Clements on behalf of the applicant here in favor of the land use redesignation. The vision for this property, as you can tell from the administration's file, is 3-story residential. As an area resident, it would be really nice to see something happen with this land. And I think it not only fits the town's growth strategy, but it's a great place for access, mobility, and residential is the best use for this application.
Thanks, Renee.
Any
questions? See none. I got none. Thanks, Renee. The next one on my list is Chris Pollan.
Hi, my name is Chris Pollan. I am the applicant and the developer or potential developer for this proposed development. We're really excited about this opportunity, the Northern Gateway into High River, a residential portion making sense, leaving way for a lot more commercial development potential, which we believe is better suited on the remaining of the Ellis lands. Our proposal is very much in line with the Ellis master or the area plan, and we're really excited to move this forward here. We have a development permit that is pending, application should be within the next couple weeks, and we do hope to start early 2026 should we be successful now and putting together a development plan to the satisfaction of administration. So I'm here to speak in favor, obviously, and happy to answer any questions about our intent and sort of what we see going forward, next steps when we get to development permit stage.
Excellent. Thanks, Chris. Any questions for Chris? I see none. You're good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Anyone else in the audience who wishes to speak in support of the bylaw? Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition of the bylaw? Is there anyone else deemed to be affected by the bylaw that wishes to speak? Maureen?
Can I just stand here? Can everyone hear me here?
No, it's a public hearing, you got to come up.
You all know who I am. So the only question I have about this development, has there been a traffic study done?
So we're not talking about the development at this time. We're talking about just the land use redesignation. So it's just going from urban reserve to a property that somebody can do something with.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just asking the developer, have you done a traffic study for this area?
It was requested as part of the development permit, and we will be doing.
You will be doing, okay.
That's all part.
Because I went through all the information, I couldn't find anything.
Yeah, that's all, because there's no development permit. That's what I'm saying, Maureen. We're just redesignating the land, and then that, once we have this done, then they can submit their development permit, which has all the design plans, TIA, all these things that are part of that. So.
Yeah, because that's pretty worrisome, the traffic that's going to be there with the units that are going in.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Looking forward to
it. Any further questions, clarification from council, from anybody? No further questions. I declare the public hearing closed at 3:17 p.m. First item of business, item 5.1, the Community Vitality Advisory Committee recommendations for the Sunset Drive-In, and I saw Kathy here.
There we go. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I am happy to be here today representing the Community Vitality Advisory Committee. For those not familiar with the process, any community requests that come to the committee with a value of more than $2,000 has to come before Council for their final approval. Council, this is a big one, so I'm going to take a little bit more time than I normally would for your sake and for those that are here or tuning in. So let's keep this big show on the screen. The Sunset Drive-In has become a uniquely High River experience, thanks to the Hamill and Shaw families. This ask comes with a big price tag, but I think that you will see that what these families have given back to the community through the drive-in does not pale in comparison. Our CVAC committee felt that this was an important one to support and to ensure that the lights don't go out on the Sunset Drive-In. I'm sure that most of you know the background to the drive-in and how it came to be, but for the benefit of those that might not, I would like to give you the Coles Notes version. Back in 2019, community drivers Roger Hamill and Wes Shaw and their families came up with the idea to bring a drive-in back to High River, fairly close to where the original drive-in was a number of years ago. After working with the town, they secured an agreement to utilize the old airstrip, and they went to work. With the support of a number of local businesses and people like Jeff Langford, many others with financial support, gift and kind donations, and a lot of hard work, the drive-in became a reality. It couldn't have come at a better time when the world was facing COVID, becoming one of the few things that we could do during that time. On top of that, they opened their gates so local charities like the Foothills Country Hospice and the High River District Healthcare Foundation could continue their fundraising efforts during that time. But the objective of the drive-in was not to put money back in the operator's hands, but to support many local charities, nonprofits, and charitable organizations by splitting the proceeds of the gate admission in exchange for manpower to carry on the nightly showings. Some nights, 100% of the proceeds have been given back to the charities. This model is significantly benefiting many local charities, having groups receiving between $1,700 and $2,500. When it comes to the movies, what you might not know is that they have to pay between $400 and $700 for each movie for a one-time viewing, even if the movie's rained or snowed out. The proceeds that are retained from the drive-in also go towards the expenses and improvements to the site, which have been many, going from a plastic porta potty to an enhanced, gently used washroom building. They started with a generator to operate the projector and now have brought power onto the site. So now there's power bills to pay, not to mention the initial site setup, fencing, building of the screen, and also the current projector. The drive-in saw their best attendance last season and have had people come from as far away as Lethbridge, Medicine Hat, and Calgary. They are providing good old-fashioned family fun and great date night experience. This season, a classic is coming, American Graffiti. The current projector is old school and is 15 years old. It operates with bulbs that have a lifespan of 10,000 hours, and it's going into this season sitting at around 8,500 hours. They're not able to find anyone that could fix or repair it, and even if they could, the season is so short, the valuable time, revenue, and momentum would be significantly impacted. The projector they're looking at investing in has a lifespan of 100,000 hours. It should be around for about 10 years. And for those of you like me that can't stay up to watch 2 feature shows because of the time they have to start, the new technology allows for the show time to start sooner. This projector is portable and can even be used at other venues. The total funding requirement they are currently looking at for upgraded projector, lens, other enhancements to the ground such as picnic tables, a gate, replacement of traffic wands is just over $51,000. The CVAC committee would like to kickstart their fundraising efforts today and ask that council approve $20,000 towards the new projector from the CVAC fund. While the amount I'm asking for you today does not cover the full cost of the projector, they are committed to coming up with the balance. And by some slim chance, they should not, of course, these funds would be returned. For those of us that know Roger and Wes, there is no question they get things done and they do it right. The drive-in was created and continues to grow due to their personal investment, both financially and by rolling up their sleeves. The volunteer element extends to the operation of the nightly showings, which in turn is invested back into local nonprofits and provides them additional funding sources. They are hosting and welcoming the site for other uses, such as the now annual cornhole tournament, the tractor pulls, and others. During the season, Wes and Roger spend most of their weekends there. It is along with these things and the others that I mentioned that it shows their commitment to this drive-in. After a lengthy discussion, the members of the Community Vitality Committee felt strongly that this request exemplifies what the Community Vitality Grant was created for. The request not only meets but surpasses the requirements. Having said that, I would ask that Council show your support of our request and provide the Sunset Bay Drive-In with $20,000 to help them purchase a new projector to ensure that this uniquely High River initiative doesn't end up in the dark. I welcome any questions.
So good. Thanks, Kathy. Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you, Kathy, for bringing that forward. I do agree. I sat in on their presentation at the CVAC meeting, and they definitely are passionate about our community and what they put forth, and they're always kind of get-it-done type of people. I love the drive-in. I love that they have volunteers that come and support them. I do feel it does fit a lot of the criteria of the CVAC. I do have a concern, though, is that we have no guarantee that we will receive years' worth of movies from this projector or from them. They could buy it and never show a show on it. What do we have in place to protect ourselves from that situation?
Although I guess when I think back to CVAC in particular, I'm not sure what things we have maybe supported like this that aren't stationary, like playgrounds and that sort of thing. I mean, we've committed to playgrounds that didn't happen and the money came back to us. I mean, there's a risk with anything. We're not paying for the full piece of equipment, so we can't put the piece of equipment saying if you don't show any movies, it comes back to the town. It's only a portion. So I guess it depends on your risk tolerance. Our committee had no problem with the risk. We trust the individuals that are bringing this to the table. They do business in this community. I highly doubt they're going to swindle $20,000 from the community and then not use it. So I guess that is your risk tolerance that we're looking at today, but our committee felt very strongly that this is a good project and a good group of people to be contributing this amount of money to.
Thank you.
Kathy, do we know how much money CVAC has provided in the past to the Sunset Drive?
None.
None, that's what I thought.
Yeah, this is their first ask.
Okay. Yeah, and Roger and Wes have poured a ton of their own funds into this. What you see at the Sunset Drive-In is basically them, like I say, along with Jeff and a few others that were involved in the initial stages. And yes, it's a big ask, but they are not here on a yearly basis asking for, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 at a time to run this thing. So we've got $35,000 in the kitty for CVAC right now. You're asking to use 20 of it.
Yep.
Again, with any CVAC application, there's an enormous amount of trust that we're putting into the individuals that we're providing the funding to do the right things and respect the money that taxpayer dollars that are being given out to many groups in this town to do their projects. So Roger and Wes both have pretty solid track records on what they can pull off with their events and what they get themselves involved with. So I'm in total support of the $20,000 ask for myself. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. And thank you, Kathy, for bringing this forward. I am 100% in support of this. To me, it is the ultimate use of CFAC funds. It is the gift that keeps giving, because we're enabling this group of, if I may, philanthropists to empower the community to raise money. Like, it just gives and gives and gives. So thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. I'll put my hand up and say I support this as well. With the individuals that have made this happen are, shall we say, stellar community members. I think a lot of people, and I enjoy this. I'm not sure if you can provide this for me. Do you know how many attendees, and did I miss that in your presentation? Because it was pretty thorough. But over the years, do we have a number of how many High Riverites have gone and enjoyed themselves?
We did not get a number other than last season was their best number.
Yeah, I took that away from the presentation. Going forward, do you know, and this might be in the weeds a little bit, but in terms of this is an operational piece of equipment, it's got a lifespan, you said, of 10 years. Does the organization plan to facilitate putting away some dollars for things like this to the future, or is this, I guess I'm asking if this is going to be a continual ask on a rejuvenation of equipment, or, as a nonprofit, are they providing themselves some funding to go forward with some things once they're, I guess, more operational in all aspects? Because there was a number of things besides the projector that were on this ask today.
Yep, and that's what they do use their portion of the funds. This is just a little bit larger ask, I think, than they were anticipating. I think when they started with the first projector, they just wanted to get things rolling and new in the business, and so not really knowing the expectations of how long it was going to last and how successful and how many hours they'd be running. So they are putting away money, as I said, their portion and it goes to enhancements like this, I think probably you will see some of their personal money go into some of these projects again. But I think now that they're aware of the lifespan and the equipment that they want, that will be part of their goal.
Terrific. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's all I've got. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
I thought I had another thought there too, Michael, but it's gone.
I have no further questions, so I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Barton that Council award $20,000 to Sunset Drive-In to help fund their new projector, funds to be allocated from the Community Vitality Advisory Committee allocation.
You have a motion, Mayor?
Thank you. All in favor? Carried.
Thank you, and thanks for your questions.
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate it. Invest Calgary, Jocelyn. Invest Greater Calgary.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. In June 2023, the CMRB announced the approval of the Collaborative Regional Economic Development Framework and Vision. From this, a committee consisting of one representative from each municipality was created with the purpose of positioning Calgary region as the premier location for investment attraction by collectively leveraging strengths of the region and working with economic development representatives from the Calgary Metropolitan Board to advance common objectives among communities. Administration brought this partnership, formerly known as the Collaborative Regional Economic Development Group, now known as Invest Greater Calgary, to a committee of the whole meeting on September 9th in 2024 and received support to continue. The town formally joining this partnership with Airdrie, Calgary, Okotoks, Chestermere, Foothills County, Cochrane, and Rocky View County enables our community to benefit from regional economic development. As Mayor Snodgrass noted in the Committee of the Whole meeting, this opportunity permits High River to get the biggest bang for our buck in relation to economic development. For the duration of the 3-year pilot, an annual fixed cost funding formula was selected by the Invest Greater Calgary Advisory Committee. 10% divided equally among members, 45% based on members' population, and 45% based on members' tax value assessment. The Town of High River financial contribution is $6,445 per year for the 3-year pilot project. All decisions are made as a collective with an equal voice, even though our financial contributions vary among partners. As mentioned in the service agreement, the Secretariat will establish a monitoring framework including milestones and key performance indicators. As of now, Airdrie and Okotoks have signed the MOU. All other partners, except Rocky View County, which is scheduled at the end of the month, are expected to sign this week. Administration is recommending that Council support the Invest Greater Calgary partnership by signing the Memorandum of Understanding and the service agreement. There are some minor adjustments expected in the service agreement that I've attached to the report due to some feedback from other partners. And I can circulate that agreement once I receive it for your review, and if anything that is significantly changed, I can bring it back for another request for decision. Does Council have any questions?
Thanks, Jocelyn. My thoughts are a little bit different today than they were on September 9th.
I quoted you, Craig.
Yeah, you quoted me, and the quote was the quote. There's no problem. So where this has come from, as Jocelyn kind of alluded to, with CMRB, one of the things when CMRB was a thing, one of the pieces we were working on was economic development and what that looks like for the region. Economic development for a town of 15,000 people is very expensive, very hard to do, very hard to measure any results from any work that we've done a ton of it in the past, especially after the flood. There was a ton of ECDEV work that went into things. Didn't see a lot of results from it, but my thoughts, like they were back in September, was if we're going to do something it should be done on a regional thing because of the expense, and maybe we can share a few things with others to get the bang for the buck. I'm totally in support of the MOU and staying with this group to see where this goes and what it looks like and where is the benefit for High River. Do we benefit from it? Or because we are the smallest community involved in this thing, we are the furthest away from Calgary. My concern is that most of this work, so like the CMRB was doing, most of it was going to affect Calgary, Airdrie, and Cochrane were the three big ones. So I was always skeptical as to, where does High River fit into this? I've talked to Tanya Mayor Thorne in Okotoks, and she has the same kind of concerns with Okotoks. How are we all? But I am absolutely still willing to be at the table if council wishes to see kind of what this looks like. $6,400 is, when you're talking about economic development, is nothing. It's so I support where we're at today and in seeing where this group can land as its own entity. Councillor Kinghorn.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Yeah, I think that this is a good investment for the town. I like the change in one member, one vote you mentioned. I think that that's a positive thing, and it'll give High River a little more influence over decisions made. Is there any political member, like it's all administration, I'm assuming, is going to be sitting on this? Is there any talk, like how are we going to involve the various councillors? Are there going to be reports coming back? What's going to happen so that we can progress what's going on?
So there would be annual reports within the 3-year pilot projects for each municipality and or county. At this level, when it began, the group didn't anticipate the CMRB no longer existing. So right now it is administrative and not necessarily like no councillors or mayors are at the table. So it's administration's job to circulate that back up the chain to have our voice at the table.
Councillor Nychuk.
Yeah, to mirror somewhat what you said, Mayor Snodgrass and Councillor Kinghorn, I think this is a small investment to be at the table for this pilot project. I would rather be there than not. Same concerns as you, Mayor Snodgrass, in some communities being bigger than us, but I'm kind of seeing this as a division right now between north and south a little bit. Airdrie, Calgary, Cochrane on the, let's say, the north side, and Foothills and us and Okotoks kind of being the southern version. So I'm hoping there would be some balance there as far as how things are looked at, worked through, and what's a development opportunity for those regions or for those municipalities unto themselves. So I'm in favor of this at this cost of participation, shall we say, and look forward to seeing what kind of things come out of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one small comment that it can be costly for us to have our own economic development in a small town. So my hope is that by having people like yourself and other representatives from the small towns, that at minimum we'll learn and perhaps be part of the solution or decisions that are made in the surrounding areas. So.
Thanks, Brenda. No further questions. I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Jones that Council support the Invest Greater Calgary partnership by signing the MOU and service agreement, and that the town contributes $6,445 per year for a 3-year pilot project to fund Invest Greater Calgary.
I'll give you that motion, Mayor Snodgrass.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Jocelyn.
Thank you.
Outdoor skating rink, Riley?
Ready?
You're good.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I'm here to discuss the outdoor rink project. This project was previously approved in 2024 with a desire to construct the same year. Unfortunately, construction was not able to proceed until this year. It currently has an approved budget of $750,000 with a contract for construction awarded to Brysand. The project currently has committed funds of about $742,000. They will be constructing a regulation-sized, non-refrigerated rink, complete with boards, pending today's conversation. The rink boards are currently being manufactured and are in assembly and ready to, or with the intent of coming to site for installation in October. The original geotech report indicated that the site was suitable for this use, but the design would need to consider or make considerations for frost heaving. Once we had a plan or further details on what exactly we wanted to install, they would review further. The contractor designed their slab and proposes a structure that they had used on other sites with a upgrade to the rebar to reduce the frost risk. Geotechnical review indicated that was not upgrading the rebar was not adequate, and that insulation would have to be placed. The insulation is to prevent a layer of water freezing or layer of material, soil absorbing water, freezing, and then causing the frost heave. They did present another option besides insulation, which was removal of the material causing issues, but insulation was the cheaper of the two options. Again, the contractor believes it's not necessary due to experience at other similar sites. Given that we do have geotechnical that states and has looked at the frost heaves specifically, we are proceeding with a recommendation for the engineered solution with insulation. This means a budget amendment is needed, as well as adding some contingency. So the final ask would be for $1.15 million. At this point, the change order is not yet finalized, and we are awaiting this conversation today. Council may decide not to proceed with the recommendation, but be advised there is a risk with regards to the frost heave. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Riley. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you, Riley. Can you say there's a risk with frost heave? Can you just maybe elaborate on that a little bit more so I understand?
So there is, so underneath where the slab is to go for the rink, there's a layer of material that likes to absorb water. And what happens is if water gets into this layer and then freezes, it expands. And then what you see on the surface is a deflection. And so if the surface materials are moving, it could shift the concrete and you would end up with lips or steps, or, you know, it might buckle or heave.
So in the original design, they didn't worry about this? Like, we do know that we're in Alberta and have, you know, cold weather.
Correct. So they didn't, when the original design came through, they didn't, I don't believe they had all the information at the time. And so that was when we were getting the pricing.
Okay.
And so it was not allowed for at that time. And they were very specific in their bid or when they did give us the pricing in terms of this is what we allowed for and this is what's required in the contract and conditional to et cetera, et cetera. So they were very precise in how they priced it.
So the new geotechnical report was asked for by the town or by the?
Correct.
Okay.
We wanted to make sure it was covered. We knew there was more information. The original report had always said that once you know what you're building, to loop back. And that was the intent of going back to the geotech a second time in terms of, we know exactly what we're building now. We want you to review it in that context and make a recommendation.
Okay.
And that's where the insulation came from.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Mr. Snodgrass. Riley, is there a guarantee from Geotech that using this spray foam insulation is going to absolutely stop heaving?
No, there is a very big disclaimer at the beginning of their report.
Would.
Yes.
Yeah, sure they would. So in the design from Brysand, I'm assuming there's gravel, sand, weeping tile, some things that are involved in the base layer under that concrete.
Correct.
To pull water away, right?
Correct.
Am I correct in saying they also increased the rebar size due to understanding of the geotechnical situation, I guess, is what we'd say?
That's correct.
Okay. And in their experience, building in similar places, they have had no significant issues constructing in the same fashion.
That's correct. They gave us an example that had been in place, I think, for 7 years.
And we followed up with that municipality or that entity to see if they were happy with the condition of their structure?
No, we did not.
Okay. But Brysand told us that their customers are happy.
Yes. They sent us pictures of the installation.
After 7 years or at the time that it was constructed?
I believe they were recent pictures.
Okay. And in your professional opinion, it all looked good?
My professional, I have no professional opinion on this one. My background is definitely not geotech.
That's why we put you in the seat. Huh?
The pictures looked good. I did not see any deflection in the pictures.
Okay. I would have liked to have heard from whoever owns this or the owners of, if there's several that are built in a situation like this, I would like to have that reference to understand. At this meeting, that would have been good for me to have. I think right now that's my questions for the moment. Thank you.
Councillor Kinghorn.
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. Just following up on Councillor Nychuk a little bit. Not only do I want pictures, I'd like to know where it is. Is it in a Chinooki environment? Is it a -30 constant environment? What are the conditions that this happy customer is dealing with? Is that clear enough, or you're looking at me with
correct.
your eyebrows
I'm looking
going?
at Chris because I'm hoping he remembers. They gave us the town name, but now I can't remember off the top of my head.
Well, I think that I don't really care about their name. I want to know what their environmental conditions are compared to ours here in High River.
Fair question.
I believe the community is in northern Alberta.
Okay, do they experience Chinooks like we do? Do they go through the same weathers?
I
That's important to know, I think, on this, because I believe that Chinooks are one of the biggest causes for our problems in our streets and pavement and everything else. So,
but I'll try and find that actual name.
Councillor Nychuk.
Sorry, I should have finished my little diatribe there with where my head's at on this, and I didn't. So I'm supportive of the project without the increase in funding. I think we've got installations, shall we say, like the skate park that we built here, some things like that we've experienced. What concrete does. We are in an environment that has cause and effect on concrete. I don't think it's going to be perfect, but I don't think in the first year this thing's going to crack and heave and fall apart. I think over time, over 10 or 20 years or whatever it might be, we're going to see some marginal cracking. I have some faith in the company that you guys hired. They have experience with this. They changed their design after some further review. I'd like to see this project go ahead in that area of town. I think at least in my time on council, we haven't taken an initiative into that area of the community other than happy trails on the berm and things that were built there. So there's some residents in that side of the community that I think would really appreciate, take advantage of, utilize this, would utilize it, as well as, you know, we're in a small town, so people travel pretty easily. So I'm in support of the project without the increase of funding and the spray foam insulation. So I just wanted to put that out there for, yeah, council and people watching and people in attendance. So thank you.
Sometimes we get reports on some of these projects from engineering firms that, you know, I get it. They want to save their butts too, and then with liability or anything in the future, but oftentimes it can become an over-engineered project that just doesn't make sense. And a $400,000 ask on this project is, I can't support it. The amount of money that that we allocated to this project is the $750,000 that came from the sale of the homes out on Riverside Drive. It wasn't taxpayer dollars, so tax funded anyway. So you know, that's the money we've got to enhance this facility and make a nice facility. Okotoks built one that was just, it was $1 million that they spent on there. So they're not inexpensive projects, but I don't think, you know, especially when we've got dry sand, and there was an engineering report at the beginning of this process, and dry sand is very, very confident with what the plans they have to be able to do this and do it right. You know, the frost heaves, most of us have driveways. They're not all buckling, right? And even in the Southwest, we all deal with the same soil conditions and everything. So I think this is just a butt covering thing. Is there a concern there? Sure. If there's a concern there, the engineering report has to have that in it. So there's risk on any project that we take on. So, but the $750,000 and the design that Brysand has given us, and their confidence in the project, I'll continue, like Michael said, I'll continue to support the project, but not with a $400,000 increase to it. So, Chris, did you find something?
Yes, I can confirm the town was Gibbons. Gibbons, Alberta.
Where's Gibbons?
I'm looking at it.
I believe it's up by Edmonton.
Yeah.
Around Edmonton.
Yeah.
Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. I know you said that Brysand, you know, is confident in going forward without the extra mitigation efforts. My concern definitely is that at what cost, right? Like, I know there's risks involved. I'm not sure, I have a hard time wondering if this project is even worth continuing in the way that it's going with some of the considerations that have come forward. Like, what are some alternate, like, could we explore a different option for this area, or is it sort of, we've already committed to this, the original $750,000, and what does that look like if we change that or didn't continue down this road?
I personally have no interest in abandoning this project whatsoever. No, we're into it. We've invested money into it. It needs to be completed in my mind.
This project will incur costs regardless because the boards are under manufacture and are ours essentially at this point. I guess you could reuse boards elsewhere, but they're coming regardless of what we do.
Councillor Walsh?
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. The project, I mean, we started this a few years ago, noting the outdoor rink had deteriorated so much. The improvements or upgrades that we're looking at are already very, very great, in my opinion. And if it is your professional opinion that what they're presenting is adequate, the suggestion's great. But if what they're doing meets the needs, I also don't see, like that's another 50% of what the original project was. We start,
I can't professionally comment on that.
Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. That's all.
Just to explain a little more, Brenda, because it is stamped by a geotechnical engineer and my background is not geotechnical, I can't, without understanding it, actually contrary to that.
Councillor Nychuk.
I'm going to rephrase, I got a couple of questions, but I'm going to rephrase Councillor Walsh's. So, because I think I used the word professional before. In your position as a director with the town of High River, how do you feel about the project, Riley?
Thank you, Councillor Nychuk.
I just took that engineering ring and stamp thing all the way for you. So.
I would say that our roads department has a lot of sidewalks in the area, and most of them are problem-free.
Are problem-free?
Yeah, similar to Craig's driveway.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. Okay, we'll leave that one alone. I also like Councillor Jones's comment about if we were to cancel this. I'm still supportive of it as a year-round facility. We're putting it here as a skating rink, but it's going to have court facility attributes through the warmer months. So I'm still quite supportive of this, but in the process of deliberation, the question that she brought up I feel is good. If we were to cancel at this point, what would be, I'm not asking for an exact number, but we've got boards that are being built. There's a cost to those. Would there be a cost to the contractor if we canceled? If there was an abandonment, what would that cost be right now?
Typically, canceling contracts mid-process is, yes, you are responsible for a cost to the contractor. So anything they've incurred to date. And then it would be a question with regards to, are they losing out on revenue? So for example, are their crews now sitting idle when they were planned to be on our job? And then there's lost profit or lost potential there. And then there would be profit on the job that they would be losing out. So generally it's a conversation around idle time and any profit they would have realized on the job, plus any expenses to date. That's typically how the conversations go when you cancel a contract.
Okay, so for my benefit and my interest here in this, would it be a couple $100,000 we'd be in for right now with the boards and what we'd be responsible for the contract?
I'm not even sure where that would be. I'd have to ask.
Do we know what the boards are?
No, I'm trying to remember what they were on the other arena because we had to come back for the change order specific to that. And I can't remember what it was, to be honest.
Okay. Okay, I just liked it being part of the conversation to understand if yeah, just for the whole council group as a whole, if there was a cost to abandoning, what it would be. But like I said, I'm still supportive of it in its original format without the additional spray foam insulation.
It is actually rigid foam.
Okay, rigid foam. It still buckles too. I got a friend in the business, so.
Councillor Barton.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I'm supportive of this project regardless, right? I think at the end of the day, based on just my background in construction and what you've said and our experience around town, there's not a lot of places that we've had heaving other than maybe the curling rink, but there was 8 feet of ice underneath it. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. What do you know what the depth of the slab is? Is it like a 4 to 6 inch, I'm guessing, slab?
Well, I can't remember off the top of my head.
800 millimeters.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Whatever. I appreciate you having that on there.
Well, I got it right here because I asked it myself the same question. 31 and a half inches.
So, yeah, I feel pretty confident in what we've got going in place, and I think we just move forward with what the budget we have. And obviously there might be the odd thing to come up, but not something 400,000. So I'm in support of it, as is.
Sorry, the 800 millimeters would have included the added couple of inches of rigid foam, right? However.
That 800 millimeters would be the sub-base and the gravel standard, as well as the thickness of the concrete.
As well as the concrete, right? So whatever the, gotcha. Councillor Kinghorn.
I think you kind of asked the same question. So if we do get some heaving, Riley, is it possible, like there seems to be all kinds of technology out there now that they could level it and do some work for that for us? Like it's not like if it heaves that we have to throw the whole thing in the garbage and completely redo it?
There is remediation methods, so it may be possible. It would depend on how bad, where, what kind of shift it is.
Yeah, that's a tough question to ask. I am in support of the project as well. I think we're too far into it. Like you said, we've got the boards done. We have a number of things done already, and I think we have to go ahead with it as is, but I wouldn't support spending another, whatever it was, 300 and some thousand.
No further questions. I'll ask for a motion from council. Now this is, remembering this is in the motion is worded in a positive sense to be supportive. So if you support, you're in favor. If you're opposed, you're opposed. So the motion from Councillor Nychuk, the council approve the implementation of a rigid foam insulation extending 2.4 meters beyond the perimeter of the concrete slab to reduce frost heave. The total slab thickness would be 800 millimeters with an estimated additional cost of $300,000, and that council revised the budget of $750,000 to $1,150,000, including contingency and excluding GST, with the additional $400,000 being funded from the Community Infrastructure Reinvestment Fund.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion is defeated. Project carries on at the $750,000 budget. Thanks, Riley.
Thank you.
Not your first rodeo being put on the spot on with zero warning. The only consistency to it is it's always Nychuk. I'm going to check. Council remuneration recommendations. Jody.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I am joined by the Council Remuneration Task Force. As you know, Al Brander, Crystal Penfilly, and Ruthann Koyama are all in the gallery here today. I thought they were going to come and sit with me to support me, but they're happy back there. Come have a seat. Thanks, Crystal. So you're still behind me, right? Yeah. In addition to the task force members, Diane Van Weber, our manager of human resources, and I both acted as advisory members to these three members that were appointed to the task force. We supported by requesting the information from the other Alberta municipalities and compiling those responses for the task force's consideration. This is the first time we've taken this approach to review and make a recommendation regarding council remuneration, as was adopted when council approved the updated council remuneration policy back in September of 2024. Previously, this review and recommendation was made by administration. However, appointing members to the Council Remuneration Task Force provides for additional transparency and an arm's length approach to providing a recommendation regarding Council's full compensation package. The review and recommendation regarding Council's remuneration is completed on a 4-year cycle in advance of a municipal election. So our next municipal election is this fall, if you don't know, October 20th, with 3 advanced polling dates, which I'm just going to plug here, October 9th, 15th, and 18th. So it's important to complete this review before that election. The Council Remuneration Task Force reviewed the compensation packages for several Alberta municipalities, starting with 17 and then narrowing in on 3 that were most comparable based on population, budgeted revenues, location and demographic, rate of growth, benefits provided as part of the overall compensation package, and allowable expenses and additional compensation that may be provided. The 3 comparable municipalities that were looked at more closely were Brooks, Lacombe, and Strathmore. In the council package, you will see the status of these 3 councils is part-time, same as High River. The populations are very close for comparison purposes, and they have similar benefits included in their overall compensation packages as our elected officials here in High River. You will also note that the base salaries for Lacombe are grayed out in your council package, and that is because they are not factored into the average that is included in the table there. And that is because those members of council are not eligible for additional compensation such as per diems, which are intended to cover potential loss of pay or potential business revenue losses when the individual is out of the local jurisdiction due to duties or events related to council. Further, you can see that the average of the Brooks, Strathmore, and High River base salaries is lower than the current base salary for High River's mayor and council. Therefore, the Council Remuneration Task Force's recommendation is that the current mayor and council base salaries remain status quo, with the mayor being at an annual salary of $67,483.59, and the council annual salary of $32,732.31. If council agrees and adopts the proposed resolution today, administration will update Schedule A, which is attached to the council remuneration policy, to reflect those current salaries. Does council have any questions or comments regarding the recommendation from the Council Remuneration Task Force?
Sorry, can you go through the numbers again?
Absolutely, because there's lots of them.
Yeah, well, just in the motion I have in front of me, like you just said, the 67,483.
Did I type it wrong? Hang on.
Yeah, I think you read out the average rather than the actual.
Oh, no.
High River, which is fine. Just so we know what we're.
Okay, let me tell. Oh, yep, I totally did.
Okay.
Mayor's annual salary, $68,879.98, and council annual salary of $34,439.73. Does that match better?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you for pointing that out.
No problem. Curious as to what level of per diems Lacombe thinks the mayor might get. I didn't know that we did that, but we don't. That's a big swing for those guys. Anyways, Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you to the Remuneration Committee for going through all of these. I do have 2 questions. One is, if you didn't add Lacombe into that averaging, why were they picked out of the 17 communities that were originally flagged? And well, I guess I'll ask that one first.
Yes, so I will answer that one, but if any members wish to correct or jump in, you are free to do so. So we did initially look at Lacombe because it did compare very closely for the population, the demographic, the rate of growth, those categories. And then when we did look at the salaries, you will see that Lacombe is quite a bit higher than the other comparables. And when we dug into that a little bit more to see why, it was because those elected officials are not eligible for any additional compensation such as a per diem.
Was it considered to find another municipality to replace that particular one?
We did discuss it. However, we felt that what we had with Brooks and Strathmore were a fair enough comparable.
Okay. And my other question is, was it looked at how they do their remuneration policies? Is it the same that it's done at the end of the term for a 4-year period, or is it done on a more regular basis?
Yep, so pretty much all municipalities in Alberta take the same approach as to when they review remuneration, so that the current council is what sets the next council salary, so that it's not a current sitting council that is setting their own salary. And the approach, we have seen where other municipalities are also going to an arm's length council remuneration, whether it's a task force or a committee of something of that nature. There are still some municipalities, for instance, Stony Plain hired a consultant that did a very in-depth review of different council remunerations and how they're paid and what their benefits and everything are included within the entire compensation package. It's actually a little bit of a bone of contention that we have so many Alberta municipalities all putting out resources when we could group together and probably do a much better job.
Great, thank you.
No further Councillor Barton.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, the task force and Jody and our staff that put this together. When was the last time, sorry, that we did this?
It would have been in 2021 in advance of the 2021 municipal election.
Okay. So the one thing that I remember coming up in discussion is just, so I just happened to look, Canmore has got a very similar population. And I know we brought up that document to try and share with the task force anyways what's been happening out there. So I don't know if you guys took that into account, any of that stuff. Because I think the one thing that has been brought up is the amount of time that people put into this job, right? And I'll be honest, the reflection of the dollar, right? I just don't know that our numbers, our remuneration numbers reflect what's happening out in the communities. Because the number before in 2021 was how much? 32,000?
So the number back in 2021, it was the only increases that have taken place since 2021 when that salary was set is the cost of living adjustments, which is the same across the board for staff as well as council.
Okay. I don't know. I appreciate all the work you guys have put into this. I just think there's things that we are, as councillors, we're not necessarily getting. As an example, if we work on committees, there's different committee time frames, and lots of my particular meetings will go 2.5 hours or more. I have a couple of those, and I know everybody here could reflect on the same thing, and it's just that 2.5 hours is not what you put into it. You actually got to often take off time of work to prepare for it, drive, from wherever you are 2 hours to get home, to shower, to get prepared, go to the meeting, and then you're there for another half hour. It all adds up. And I know surrounding communities are actually accounting for certain parts of it, not necessarily the prep portion of it, but or getting cleaned up or anything like that. But I don't know. I think we need to, at some point, we need to start reflecting that into the amount for future councillors. It's there's a lot of work that goes into this. I mean, we all know, and I even think the previous councillors that have been here, like you, there's a lot of work that gets put into this, and it's not just what you see sitting here. Anyways, I just wanted to stick my neck out for that. I haven't committed to anything in the future for running for council. I just think it's something that we need to bring to the table. So that's That's all I got to say. Thanks.
I can speak to a couple of those. So we did look at Canmore. It was initially in the group because it is comparable from a population perspective. However, it was taken out of the refinement that we looked at the different comparable municipalities because it seems like a very different community. It's very much a high tourist community. It has a little bit of different considerations looking from their budget perspective. So we did have a discussion about Canmore, but then it didn't make it into the short list that we looked at. Speaking about the committees, that is something that was taken into consideration because majority of councils do have other committees where council members do sit on those and have to put in time to prep and attend meetings. I can't really speak to the hours that are involved comparative, like between High River and other municipalities, but it is an expectation across the board, and you are absolutely correct that there is so much more to sitting on council than sitting in this room, right? You guys are busy, very busy with all of your elected official duties. So it has been taken into consideration. How that reflects in the dollar amount in the end, it's challenging because it's considered a part-time position, but it's hard to, without having all of you actually track all of your time and where you are, it makes it difficult to put that dollar per hour type correlation to it. So.
Yep, I understand that. I don't know. Just something I think we need to consider, whether it's this time or next time or whatever. I just don't want it to get lost in the mix. So,
absolutely, because we could adjust our remuneration policy or our council reimbursable expense policy if you wanted to consider different ways that there are compensation for attending other meetings. Right now, the base salary is intended to include those local committee meetings. However, it's only when you go out of our local jurisdiction to attend, if it's training or CMRB is a terrible example because it doesn't exist anymore. But if you were going to a committee meeting that was outside of the local jurisdiction, then there could be that per diem compensation for those types of meetings or events. So yeah. there are different options, absolutely.
Okay, appreciate that.
Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass, and thank you to the committee. It's very nice to put a face to Christy as well, just new to us. I think the biggest thing is truly the time management or assignment of the different committee appointments, because though I think every one of us shows up to give all that we've got to give, the different committees, they do not come out in a balanced or equal way. So some of the committees will require lengthy, long, late meetings. Others, you could be in and out in 15. But it isn't necessarily balanced as far as what is required from the individual in this chair for time commitment. So that would be my thought going forward, the remuneration piece. Thank you for taking the time to go through all those numbers and such. But I think that Councillor Barton's comment is very valid, that we need to look at how we establish those committees.
Chris just showed me what council makes in Canmore. Wow. Great comments from everybody, and excellent discussion having it. And you know, Councillor Barton, you're absolutely right. You add up the amount of hours that we put into these positions and what we put into these roles, and the financial compensation that we get from it. You'd never sign up for that job in the private sector. It's not the only reason why we're here, though. Like the private sector, you're there namely to make a living, make money. This is a little bit different. It is on my end anyways, that it's a job for sure, that we enjoy doing for the community, but it's definitely not one that you're going to retire on. There's no question. So, but you do it for the community, and you get compensated somewhat for it. One thing I do agree with, though, with what you're saying, is having a look at compensation amounts on committees that councillors spend time on, because there's some that take very little time. I'll just use like the museum board or something, but you compare that to West Winds, like, no, you're talking about 20 minutes versus a 3-hour evening, 3.5, 4 hours. I've heard 4 hour. I think Brenda, you were talking about 4-hour meetings with West Winds. Well, that's a whole different piece, talking about your time. And so I think that's something the next council should look at, is what compensation for, because all the committee meetings, 90% of them are done in the evenings as well. So that's more time away, not just from your day, but from your family and other things that you do in the evening. So something that I think they should look at. But thanks very much, Al, Crystal, Ruth Ann. You know, it's a lot of work to put this stuff together and to go through it, but I'm in supportive of the status quo recommendation here today. So I will ask for a motion from Councillor Kinghorn that Council supports the Council Remuneration Task Force recommendation effective January 1st, 2026 for Council remuneration for the 2025 to 2029 Council term to remain the same as follows. Mayor annual salary of $68,879.98 and Council annual salary of $34,439.73.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. You have the motion.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, Jody. Thanks to the committee for all the work. Councillor board and committee reports. Anyone? Councillor Nychuk.
Thanks, Mayor Snodgrass. Just to bring this forward again, Alberta Health Services created some regional councils in the interest, hope, and direction to assist in healthcare improvement in the province. Those appointments were, I believe, put on the website on Friday. So we fall into Regional Advisory Committee 11, and I was appointed to that committee. So our orientation meetings start in the next month and two here. There's 3 different meetings for just time frames so that everybody can hit one of these orientation meetings. But anyway, the idea wholesale is that I become a voice for our community and this region as far as healthcare issues, concerns, ideas. So I've already reached out to the medical community, to a doctor in particular, about getting together with them to start to understand more so, as we're already aware of the challenges that they have here in High River. And then also putting this out there to the community that I do sit on that board now, and those kinds of concerns, questions, things can come to council through me in that direction. So,
well done. Thanks, Michael, and thanks for reaching out to the docs to try to figure out. And you're going to be a fantastic voice for what our #1 priority is in this town, which is proper health care for our residents. And I don't know whether to say congratulations or condolences at this time, but we'll see what comes in the future for that one. But
yeah, non-compensated. Yeah, just since we were on that topic.
Okay, non-compensated. Councillor Walsh.
Thank you, Mayor Snodgrass. Shepherd Family Park. The Heritage Day, there's some posters at the front. They're here and there throughout the community. That's on Monday, August 4th. There'll be somewhat of a garage sale. They've itemized it as a vintage sale. Music, some old-time games. The blacksmith shop has seen vast improvements, and they'll be doing some demonstrations. There's a barbecue lunch being put on by the Kinsmen, so that's Monday, August 4th. And in addition to that, regarding Shepherd Park, they're planning the annual Threshing Day, which is in September. And it's a pretty big Western heritage thing in High River. And Shepherd Family Park is really, really hoping to recruit some new volunteers that want to continue on being the stewards of our history here. So if anyone is interested in being a part of Shepherd Family Park, volunteering at Threshing Day is a really, really great way to get an introduction to what really happens down at the park. That's all I have to report for that. Thank you.
Thanks, Brenda. Anything else? Council? Board and committee minutes, the Museum of the Highwood meeting minutes. Public comment section, anything pertaining to agenda items today? Anybody? Bonnie?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I just have a couple of comments that I'd like to make. I am interested in the pool report, and so I was wondering if the pool report on an ongoing basis, I believe it's on the first council meeting of the month, if that could be brought back into this agenda, since the Committee of the Whole is no longer live streamed. Could it be part of the regular agenda? Because I usually can't attend on Monday. I have another commitment on Monday. But this day I happen to be available. So that's just a request, if it could be as part of the regular agenda, because then you can listen to it at home. My only other comment is regarding your salaries or your compensation and the time you put in. I was wondering if maybe you guys could track your time and let the public know how much time you do put in, because I do agree that I think you put in a lot more time than we know about. I was more aware of that when I was working here, but I know that committees take up a lot of time and you end up that. So I think maybe as part of your report, putting an indication, keeping your track of your time for a series of months and so on, might be a good thing to put out there to the public. I know that you do put in a lot of time.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Bonnie. Thank you. And yeah, we can definitely consider, and we'll talk about bringing the pool stuff. It is the biggest project this town's.
Staff puts in a bi-weekly timesheet. Maybe that's what you guys should do for a little while and let us know where you're at, what you're doing, and what takes up the time. Even as staff, we put in a lot of, used to put in a lot of extra time.
Sure.
And it's good to know
Yeah,
what it is.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, no. I will not be doing that. I don't have time to put down and to track that. It's just such a scattered bag, and
I get it.
just, it would take an enormous amount of
I don't have a problem
to start doing that.
with
For
the
me, it would.
compensation
Others can.
at all.
That's just for me, but.
In fact, I thought
Yeah.
it was a lot higher, but that's
It's
just
a,
a comment.
yeah, it's a boatload of time, and it's not, you know, that when staff are working and they're allocating time, that's part of their job to do that while they're doing, and they move around. And for me, it's working, it's doing town, it's family, it's doing town, it's back to work. It's like you get on a 15-minute phone call, or you get on a, you know, it's those kinds of things. So tracking our time and what we put into it is very, very difficult. I know other councillors have done it in the past, and they've come up with numbers. I remember Betty Hebert did it back in the day. Like, pardon me?
Councillor Moore.
Oh, of course Councillor Moore did it.
Yes.
There's nobody more detailed in the world than Councillor Moore. Look at his hair. It's kind of like yours, Kinghorn. Right?
I'm in his chair.
Well, you are in his chair. It comes with the chair. So, yeah, thanks, Bonnie. And I appreciate what you're saying. It is, there is a lot more than what
Well,
the public sees in just coming to these meetings or something.
And
but-
I agree with Jamie that there is more than what you see, and sometimes maybe that's what the public needs to be able to see too.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, that's all. Just
Appreciate it.
hopefully the pool, I'd like to see the pool in this.
Yep. It's the biggest project we got going on right now. It's the biggest project ever in this town.
It is.
$24 million project, right? So it's fair. Anyone else? We're good. Council correspondence requiring action. The High River Performing Arts Foundation letter of support that we do often. So I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Walsh that Council authorize the Mayor to sign the letter of support for the High River Performing Arts Foundation's application to be considered as a capital project in the Government of Alberta's 2026 budget.
I'll give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Council correspondence for information, correspondence on Longview Trail, correspondence regarding the community bursary, and then correspondence regarding 605 Mcleod Trail. I will speak to that one just briefly because I know it's a hot topic on Facebook and stuff right now. So what I said before earlier, before the meeting started, before the live stream started, I'll kind of reiterate what I said before. The developer at the 605 Mcleod Trail project, the property has been sold to an individual, him and his wife, that are looking to develop that property. The stage they are at right now, they have only submitted a development permit on Friday. It's being reviewed by staff to see if it's actually a complete application at this point in time. So not much is, it's being reviewed by staff right now. What we do know is that in order for what you see on the board that the developer put on there, the images that you see on there are the current, his proposed design. There's nothing approved whatsoever on it. What we do know on that project is that there's 6 or 8 variances that would need to be granted as relaxations to our land use bylaw. We have great concerns with some of those variances that are being asked to be relaxed on. So that's where we're at right now. It's in the development permit stage. I know I'm not on Rant and Rave, but I was sent I knew right when the guy put the sign up because my phone blew up right away. And one of the concerns is how can the town allow this person to demolish that house? One lady earlier said it was 98 years old, but anybody in High River that knows that property, you love that property. It's a gorgeous property, nice big driveway. It's historical landmark property. Most of us refer to it as the Ford House, but and the comments online were, how can the town allow the developer to demolish that house? When you buy a piece of property that has a house on it, you own the property and you own the house. You own the house, you can do as you see fit with the house. So that's not a decision by the town to allow the house to be demolished or not demolished. They get a demolition permit to make sure that everything's going to be safe and everything's going to be done, but it's not our decision as to whether we start telling people whether they can or can't demolish their own house if they want to build something different there. That's their property, and property owners have property rights. So, like I said before, development permit has been submitted. Staff are reviewing that application right now to see if it's a complete application. Nothing starts until staff have deemed it a complete application. Until then, they have to go back and forth with the developer until they figure out, until it becomes a complete application. So there's a lot to be done yet in this, a lot to be discussed about it, because any variances that are being requested must come for discussion with council. So, and that's variances in the Southwest. It's a caveat that we made, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, with some of the variance concerns that we had in the Southwest that were going on at that time, and we brought it forward. And now any variance request must be brought to the attention of council. So lots to be done and discussed on that project going forward. So anybody thinks it's a done deal, it is absolutely not. A lot of work to do. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion from, sorry. You got one? You want to, yeah, go ahead.
Oops, thanks. You were just going to go to the closed?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, just in regards to council correspondence and that piece on Longview Trail about the potholes and stuff, maybe, Chris, you can come back to us at the next meeting, just maybe a little review on that section from like Highwood Village Gate to High Country Drive, that corner there. There is quite a few potholes and things there. I know we've been dealing with that for a number of years. If we can just get to kind of just have a little something for the concern that was brought forward by the resident to see what Ops is doing with it, or maybe going to do with it, or just, if you don't mind.
We can have something prepared.
Thank you. This time I'll ask for a motion from Councillor Barton that council recess the regular council meeting July 14th at 4:36 p.m. and move into a closed meeting.
Yeah, my motion, Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. talking about Stampede food while we were on recess. One motion coming out of the in-camera session. Ask for a motion from Councillor Nychuk. The council appoint Crystal Penfilly to the Community Vitality Advisory Committee with a term start date of July 15th, 2025 and a term expiry date of October 31st, 2027. And further, that council direct administration to advertise openings for the remaining vacancies on the Town of High River boards and committees and return to council at a future date with recommendations.
Be happy to give you that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Meeting adjourned, 4:51 p.m. Thank you very much.